Welcome to this second video about the Revolution D100 rule set for fantasy grounds. Today we will talk about conflicts and combat. In order to show you the capabilities of the rule set, I have created an opponent for our hero, Zor Vargas, which we have created in the last video. It's a green Martian. Okay. You can see his characteristics here. He's bigger than our red Martian, tougher and more muscular. So it will be a tough opponent for Zor. So let's see how these two characters interact on the desert plains of Barsoom. First of all, an example of a non-combat interaction. In this case, the Green Marshal will try to sneak upon our hero Zor. Okay, we select the stealth skill. Zor is already set as target for our Green Martian. So all we have to do now is to execute a generic action, and the system will initiate an opposed roll. Here comes the roll. And we see that by rolling 91 on a stealth skill of 56, our Green Martian has absolutely failed his sneak attempt. This opposed roll window would appear also on the screen of the player if Zor was managed by a player. So we would see the same thing, I as the GM and the player managing Zor. In this case, I will manage both characters as the GM. So let's see Zor's reply to the Green Martian sneak attempt. We select Perception, which is the skill with which you normally counter stealth attempts, and make the roll on behalf of Zor. 69. Oh! Zor has failed too, and has failed with a roll which is below the Green Martian's roll. Okay, so what happens is that the Green Martian, in fact, gained an advantage on Zor because he was looking elsewhere. Okay. In this case, we can also roll for the loss of resolution points. The Green Martian inflicts 5 points of resolution damage if we are running the sneak attempt as a long-term conflict. Okay, let's move to combat. Okay, so let's assume that the Green Martian has arrived close enough to Zor to move towards him and attack. We changed the nature of the combat tracker by clicking here. We move from non-violent conflict to combat. And here we have combat. Okay. Now we have to determine the readiness values for the two combatants, so their initiative. They are both not engaged because the Green Martian, we assume that he has sneaked close to Zor, but not close enough to attack him in close combat yet. So we set them as both unengaged at the start of round. Okay, Zor is faster, so he will act first, and he has a radium pistol. He will shoot at the Green Martian with his deadly ranged weapon. Okay, he has already the Green Martian set as its target, so we just make the ranged attack roll for Zor. He hits 2 with a skill of 60 is a success. The green Martian can make a dodge roll with a penalty because it's not easy to dodge bullets and radium rays, so he will try to make a dodge. We roll the dodge for the Martian. Here is a success, but it's not true because he rolled with a minus 30. So I, as the GM, change this success in a failure. And Zor can roll damage and one combat effect against our Martian. Okay, we'll choose. I have two possible effects I can choose: bleed and impale. Impale is the most effective because it increases damage and thus the stopping power of the radium pistol. So we will roll impale, adding 1d8 to the damage of the radium bullet. Let's roll for damage. Ooh, 15 points of damage. Poor Green Martian. Okay. So what I do now is to drop the damage. Here on our Green Martian. Okay. The system has applied 1 point of armor to the target. But even with the reduction of 1 point of armor, the damage that passed through overcomes the Green Martian's toughness of 10 and gives it a wound. Let's see in the effect panel, the Martian has a wound, 4-point wound. The system has automatically rolled endurance for our Green Martian, and he lost 14 points of readiness. So we have eaten up all his initiative for this round. Since he rolled failure, he is also incapacitated. So normally at this point, Zor would have won. Let's continue the battle just to show you what happens when the combatants reach melee range. So let's assume that the Green Martian has instead passed this endurance test. It now has a penalty to all his skills of minus 30 because of the wound, and he is minus 4, you see, in effort points. It's the effort point value of the Green Martian has become red because it's now negative. Let's go to the next round and see what happens. Okay, next round, the combatants are still unengaged. Okay, Zor is trying to reload its pistol, but the Martian will move towards him. Okay, he has a reduced readiness because of the effort points, the negative effort points, but he can move, so he makes a movement action and comes close to Zor. He is now ready to hit the poor Zor with his powerful saber. But Zor is ready with his own saber, and now he has the initiative. He is 11 points of readiness versus the Green Martian 4. Okay, so he strikes first. Let's roll the close combat attack for Zor. Aha, this is a hit. Okay, Zor hits. The Green Martian can parry with his saber, but he has a minus 30 because of the wound. Let's see if he can actually parry. I roll the parry. 60. No, 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 no. He didn't parry, so Zor can inflict damage again on the green Martian. Let's see what we choose this time. We have many more options because this is a melee weapon, so it has more options. Some are tactical, some are damage options. Let's choose the best option for a saber at close distance and go for slash, which doubles the damage that passes armor. So this blow will do double damage. Let's roll damage for Zor again. Let's see what happens. It's a 1. No effect. Because it cannot pass the armor of the red Martian. Okay. However, our Martian has used all his readiness for the parry, so it's again Zor's turn. He strikes again. 46, but this time he misses because he lacks the readiness for striking with his saber, which is 7, and the penalty means that he is failing. So the round ends with no one inflicting more damage. Okay, let's move on to next round. This time the two opponents are engaged in melee. So I click on the engaged button. What you can see here is the green Martian should be at an advantage here because he is bigger, but this penalty in effort points means that again Zor goes first. He strikes again with his saber. 27, another hit. Our green friend attempts a parry and he succeeds. Okay, he has parried successfully, but Zor rolled higher, so he gains a combat effect. In this case, we can choose only a combat effect of the blue list, so of the type that doesn't allow to roll for damage. Okay, so what can we do here? We could try to use take initiative to reduce the readiness of the Martian, but since it is bigger and we only rolled 27, that would have no effect. So I choose anticipate to give Zor an edge for his next roll. You can see here among the effects that Zor now has anticipate against the green Martian. The Martian can now strike at last, and he strikes with his deadly saber. Okay, and he connects despite the penalty for the wound. But Zor has wisely acquired a bonus against our Martian, and that saves his life because he would normally have missed this parry with his 53, but the 53 becomes an 83 because of the anticipate combat effect, and now we can again choose an effect. Let's see what we can do here. Disarm. Oh, did he? Yes, he rolled an advantage, so he has extra options. So let's go for something really, really nasty. So let's give a daze to the green Martian. Now the poor green Martian has both a wound and a dazed condition. He is a -60. It's impossible, he will not parry. So now Zor strikes with his saber. He hits another critical hit. Oh, the poor Martian will try to parry, but it fails completely. So Zor hits with a terrible, terrible blow. At this point, what he does, he has two combat effects. So we go for slash and maximum damage. That will be a terrible blow. It's an 8-point blow. Okay, and in fact, it's a 16-point blow because we chose slash. So we go 16. I drop this value onto the Martian's armor. And again, you see, that's another wound. Okay, he rolled 47. In fact, it's not a success because we should take into account the penalty for the first wound, okay, which is still there. But in any case, we assume that Zor has completely finished our green Martian opponent. So we have seen more or less all the options you can use in a conflict or combat in Revolution D100 in fantasy grounds. So opposed skill rolls, ranged combat attacks, and close combat attacks and defenses with tactical and damage combat effects applied. Thank you for watching and see you for the next video.